if we want to rebuild America and make America great again, we need to do it on a sound basis. And voting and the sanctity of voting. I mean, ever since the computer and the Diebold computer rigging machines, you know, the voting machines from Diebold, now it's some company owned by George Soros. That's got to go. Yeah, there are stories of they're shipping them over state lines to vote somewhere else, but they don't even need that. All you need is a computer,
right?
And change the program and the tabulation. That's how Trump won in the first place. It was already baked in. He just had the power. The good guys had overthrown the bad guys, and they had power over the computer rigging.
Right.
Would Trump win in a fair fight? I believe so, but did he need to? No. They rigged the numbers right at the main tabulation spot computer, wherever that lies. I think it's at Langley. And yeah, because the good guys are in charge now. Same with the Brexit. Everybody thought the Brexit, the bad guys always rigged the vote, so it's going to win anyway. And then all of a sudden, no, it didn't. I knew once that happened that the same thing would happen in the U.S., and it did. Because the good guys have removed the bad guys behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. So the good guys control the market rigging. The good guys control the vote rigging now. And Trump, I believe, is bringing this up now because he doesn't like that he won, that he had to rig the votes because the other side was so criminal. We need a free voting. We need the vote of the people to count once again. So there has to be a revamp of the voting system, and that's what Trump is saying right now. And that's kind of where CNN got their question. Their person asking Trump's spokesman. They're like, oh, does this mean that Trump agrees that the vote was illegitimate? I'm like, oh my God. I'm writing another book. Because I have a new one is about the hidden gold, because it's going to come into play. And I've talked about it for a long time, especially in the Grand Canyon, this gold that they found in the early 1900s, right before they began the Federal Reserve System. I believe G. Edward Griffith's book about, Creature from Jekyll Island. I believe in that thing. I think the only thing he missed was the secret gold that they found in the Grand Canyon and what that would have done to the monetary system of the time. Because in the early 1900s, there's conflicting reports. I think it's 500,000 ounces of gold in the monetary system around the world. And there's also reports of not 500,000, 500 million ounces. And then there's reports that there was 100 million ounces in the world used as money back then. So they find this gold field literally in the Grand Canyon, and they do analysis of it, and it has billions with a B, billions of ounces in it. And they start mining it, and they start mining it, and there's a big article, front page of the New York Times, about billions and billions of ounces of gold found in the Grand Canyon, and then it's shut down. The mine is shut down. You never hear another thing about it, and then the Marines are in there guarding it. You're still not allowed to go into that area of the Grand Canyon. I believe that they went to Woodrow Wilson after, they found this, and the Chicago banksters started mining it, and then the rich said, "Oh my God, this would destroy our wealth too," because they only had a certain amount of gold. So this operation was shut down, and I'm doing all kinds of research into who owned it, who was doing the mining, and this is in the middle of the Grand Canyon in like 1908, 1909. And I mean, that's back when, the technology just to get there took weeks, and it was a very rugged part. So you can't have mining, how many gold panners will it take to go in there and get all this gold out? Because that's how they panned. That's how they found gold, was panning in the placer sands and things like that. So they sent all this huge equipment, and they even built a steamboat they carried it in like on a horse, and piece by piece on horseback and on and wagons to get to this one spot. They built this steamboat, and it's really interesting how this all got shut down, because it took them 3 years just to set up the operation. And then instantly after the or right during the New York Times announcement, they shut down the entire operation and basically kicked everybody out of there. And then the U.S. government took over because they built facilities for people to sleep because this was going to be a huge operation. So yeah, I've been digging in. It's so hard to find all these documents going back to like 1908 and stuff. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. And it has a huge bearing on the transition. Will we move to gold if we find out there's not 180,000 tons that's ever been mined in the world? There's millions of tons.
Right.
And millions of tons available to be mined. That would change everything on the monetary system going forward if we do decide to go back to gold. And what would it do to the price of gold? Right. All my GATA friends are saying, no, it can't be true. It can't be true. It can't be true. Just like they said about, Yamashita's gold and the Nazi gold and all that. Oh, it can't be true. It can't be true. It can't be true. I mean, the gold bugs are cracking me up because, they're so set in their ways that there's only 180,000 tons of gold that's ever been mined.
Right.
And they'll pull out documents, but these documents are all written by people like Harry Oppenheimer. So many people died in the creation of that book. Peggy and Sterling Seagrave should be given the Medal of Valor because they documented and wrote this amazing book documenting everything that happened. And people around them were dropping like flies. And when they originally published the book, they didn't even put their names on it.
Yeah,
because you're talking the secrets of the world, and all they were doing is put together, kind of the same thing that GATA does. Put together 2 + 2. Here's some official government documentation, official testimony from the Ollie North case. The gun running, and that talked a lot about the funding through Marcos in the Philippines using Yamashita's gold. And if you take your blinders off that gold is completely the rarest thing in the world, then you can see what's going on really. And do I think gold will go up in price? In value, it will definitely go up because the U.S. dollar they've printed a hell of a lot more dollars than they're telling people also. So yes, gold will be a good asset to hold. Silver will be probably 1,000 times better. I do see a point that gold and silver are traded at parity. Parity meaning 1-to-1. Right now it's 70-to-1. And the reason is because the amount we have above ground. All the gold that's been mined is kept in a vault, and stored away. All the silver that's been mined used to be kept in a vault, but now is used in electronics and solar panels and flat screen TVs. So there's about 6 billion of each above ground. Now those are like figures that come from places like the USGS. So those figures are probably off. But if you have the same amount of each metal, and one metal is way more valuable as an industrial metal than the other, I would assume that silver would be a lot more valuable than gold without market manipulation, without the price rigging.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And hopefully Trump, I think Trump knows exactly what I'm saying. At one time, Trump was on the road to Roota, or at least someone named Donald Trump. I don't know if it was actually him, but I had a subscriber named Donald Trump a long time ago, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if this is before he announced he was going to be president. But I had the Bank of China on the road to Roota too. They know exactly what's going on. All these people, it's not like it's hidden anymore. The secrets behind the market rigging, the secrets behind the gold manipulation, silver manipulation. I mean, silver is a classic example. Deutsche Bank comes out and admits they were rigging the silver market, and turns in evidence of 4 or 5 other banks who were rigging the silver market. So those like Jeffrey Christian, who are still allowed to sound off and say that gold and silver aren't manipulated, they need to be sued. Their clients should sue him because he was flat out wrong.
Yeah,
there will be no market. Yeah. That's the thing, is the unbacked fiat monetary system. The only reason it has lasted so long, especially the electronic version of it, is because the markets are rigged. And the moment the rigging stops, gold and silver and Bitcoin and oil are kind of the 4 big ones. The moment the rigging stops and things are allowed to trade freely, the exchanges will freeze up. because everybody will get out of the paper electronic stuff and try to get their hands on the real stuff, the gold, the silver, the Bitcoin, and real hard assets in the ground. But at that very same moment, those who have already got those assets understand this is the moment they were waiting for, and that's the reason they bought gold, is for this coming crash. There's no way they're going to sell it. The first thing they'll do is try to buy more of it. So who are the sellers? There won't be any. So what happens to our free markets if the free exchange of physical silver for cash is introduced to one of these markets? None of the markets right now trade physical silver for cash and call it the market price. They all trade derivatives with a delivery component.
Yeah.
Well, on the COMEX, you can see how many ounces are registered for delivery and how many ounces are traded. Every year on the COMEX, I think last year was about 80 billion ounces of silver were traded. And I think it's around 25 million ounces in the registered category.
Yeah.
Or something very low. Or what was it, 125? I don't remember the exact number, but in registered, I don't know what it is actually right now. I haven't looked at it for so long because ever since JP Morgan got their vault certified as a COMEX vault, they lie about everything. Yeah, Harvey Organ up in Canada went into Scotia vault, the registered vault, and said there's nothing in there.
Right.
Yeah, and they claim to have all these stored ounces of gold and silver, and he's like, I didn't see it.